Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. We post an interview with an amazing Canadian each weekday for your daily inspiration. Today, I would like to introduce you to my dear friend, Eric Crowell. Eric was born in Toronto, Ontario, lived in Calgary for quite some time, and moved back to that beautiful part of the country. I love Toronto. Eric is married to Heather, and they are very proud of their 5 kids. 2 of theirs are married, and that makes 5. So nice. Besides Eric's loved ones, he's passionate about the one that has him the most alive at the moment, and that is working with his AJ team of ELCs in supporting emerging and evolving leaders in building sustainable organizations. Friends, you'll find his full bio attached. Eric, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Catherine. It's an honor to be here.
Are you ready for the questions that we sent?
We'll see.
Okay, well, the toughest
I'm
one.
normally doing the interviewing, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it looks good when it's flipped on the other side. Okay, so your biggest challenge in the last few months?
I would say, Catherine, the biggest challenge that I've dealt with over the last few months is we've known that we have clients in Eastern Canada, and we knew that we needed to be there in a bigger way because they're starting to ask us to support that. So it's been a challenge, and then during COVID, all of a sudden technology allowed us to be able to really support our clients from a virtual platform, and then it allowed me to be able to have the opportunity to be there to support one of our other coaches in Toronto and support that. So the challenge was then shutting down our physical office in Calgary and moving to a virtual space, and then moving myself and my wife Heather Wood and I to just north of Toronto and Barrie to support the expansion of Awesome Journeys offering of executive leadership coaching, leadership development, and strategic planning with Eastern Canadian clients.
That's awesome. And of course, you're going to keep your clients wherever they are, right? It doesn't change anything.
Oh yeah.
You're able to coach from wherever you are.
Yeah, and 3 of the 5 coaches are still in Calgary, and they handle Western Canada and the world virtually. But packing up after 32 years of living in Calgary and then moving back to Ontario was a challenge, was emotional, and it's been rewarding.
Oh, I'm glad. Coming through on the other side, so much easier.
I mean, I'd spent more than half my life in Alberta, and an extraordinary place. I love the entrepreneurial spirit, and it's time to expand the footprint of Awesome Journeys. So off I went.
No, I'm very proud of you, and way to go, you and Heather. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
The next piece is the 3 things that you would like to share with our audience today.
I would say the big 3 things that I see really sharing with others is, I would say first and foremost is that there's a new conversation of leadership occurring in the world. And it's a conversation that I would say is really starting to evolve everywhere. And it's moving from what I would say interdependent achiever mindset, the hero leader, the one who really makes it all happen. They think that they're responsible for the strategic plan. They think that they're paid to be the smartest person in the room to support the organization. And, they care, but, in this world of what I call VUCA now, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, that style of leadership is not able to adapt to this more complex world we live in. And so you're really seeing the transformation of the mindset from independent achiever to this interdependent co-creator or collaborator mindset is really starting to take off. And we're seeing it everywhere, and it's exciting, seeing it in governments, seeing it in businesses, seeing it in nonprofits, more collaboration, more community, more involvement. And some people say, well, decision-making takes too long. And I say, well, no, what we need to do is the leader of the head of the organization, CEO, president, managing director still needs to be responsible for the ultimate decisions, but we need more input from the organization right from the front line all the way into the C-suite. So it's exciting seeing this transformation of this new conversation of leadership that we see evolving in the world.
I agree. And I certainly have seen that as well, Eric, with a lot more collaboration in all areas. And recently I was introduced to an organization that you might want to check out called Thought Exchange. And it allows for every voice in the organization to be heard equally. It's very interesting, and it's a very cool software program that you put one idea up from whomever, and everybody collaborates with that idea and thinks of another way to expand it. It's awesome. So you might want to be introduced. Let me know if you
do. I do. I'll check it out. Thank you, Kevin.
Oh, yeah.
I would say the other thing that I see is really exciting that's going on is just, again, in the work of leadership is, really the work we do is really supporting this concept of building leadership cultures in organizations, and organizations that are really doing well at adapting to this VUCA world, really are supporting leadership, building a culture of leaders throughout the whole organization. And a good example I'll share with you is, a while ago I was in one of my banks that, I deal with, and the teller said to me, what's Awesome Journey all about? And I said, well, Awesome Journey, we specialize in leadership coaching for executives and emerging leaders, along with strategic planning. He goes, well, what do you mean by strategic planning? And I said, well, let me ask you a question. He goes, sure. I said, how many tellers in your bank in your region? He says, tellers, there's 200. I said, how many touches would you do on an average day with clients? He said, well, let's just say conservatively 10. I said, so 10 times 200, that's 2,000 touches a day. I said, times 5 days, conservatively, I said, that's 10,000 touches a week. I said, is your CEO ever getting all of the tellers in a room once or twice a year and saying, what are you guys hearing on the front lines from our clients? And he paused, he said, we've never had that. And I said, so there's an example of really an organization that builds a leadership culture to support strategic planning. You have your frontline professionals. I don't care if you're an oil and gas service company, to a bank, to a restaurant, to a tech company. It doesn't matter to me, or an accounting firm. Is your frontline people are the ones who are talking to your clients. And if it's not by design of, just 3 simple questions. Are you listening for what they care about? Are you listening for what they're complaining about? And you're listening for what their concerns are, and then capture that. And then we get it into the executive suite so they can go, wow, here's where the market's going. Here's what clients are looking for. And therefore able to really use quality data to support your strategic planning process, because you have a culture of leaders who are listening. The executives are listening to the staff, and the frontline people are listening to the clients, and then they're collaborating and bringing that into the organization to create strategic differentiation. And he's like, wow, we don't do that.
Yeah.
So to me, a number of our clients really have bought into really seeing the power of, let's train our frontline leaders, which are emerging leaders. Let's teach them how to lead at the front lines, what to listen for, how to own their position, take responsibility, own their time, and then have a voice to be able to bring into the organization to support the executive team and to be able to move the organization forward to future. And you see the companies that are doing that well are able to pivot in these times.
I love it.
Because they're listening.
Yeah, I love it.
So I'd say that's the next big one I see is really exciting for me. And then I would say the third one that I would say is just, I don't know, I would say it's, to a lot of people, COVID has been hard on their business. It's been hard on them emotionally. It's been hard on their revenue, their sales, their profit. But, it is bringing us together. And one of the things I would say that I see now more than ever is, we as a human species are starting to realize we're all just one group. I've got clients in KL, Kuala Lumpur. I got clients in Europe. I got clients in the US, and every one of them got clients in Australia. And, you'll be in a coaching session and I'll say, so how's it going? We've been on lockdown, right? We're at home, just like you. And it's all over the world. And everybody's in this together. And as a result of that, we're really starting to see that we're all one. We're not separate. Sure, we may be different, but we're all human in this together. And we bring different religions, we bring different beliefs, we bring different experiences, we bring different perspectives. That's allowing us to say, how do we support each other to deal with these, global issues we have? We got a global issue around education, right? I mean,
Yeah,
kids are coming out of school going, it's about right and wrong.
Yeah.
My son graduated a degree in engineering, right? And it's like, he says, Dad, this is really different. Everything I do in the corporate world is team. Everything I did in school was one-on-one.
Yeah.
Not sharing. So, our education system has to upgrade. Our healthcare system has to upgrade. At some point, we need to hold people accountable for their healthcare. So, just think about it, Catherine. You go get your life insurance renewed, and your life insurance says your life insurance premium just went down because we see that you are going to the gym 4 times a week, your heart rate is X, your body fat is this, and your cholesterol. So your life insurance premium just went down.
Yeah.
Now people are aligned to what works. The government would say, all right, you get your tax return because as a business owner, you've helped create this many jobs this past year. Thank you. And we're going to reward you for that.
Love it.
So we need to reward the right behaviors to support the plan and the vision of what we want to do, whether it's healthcare, whether it's in business, whether it's in education, whether it's in, politics. I mean, here's the thing that you and I understand in business, at least most of us do, is how long does it take to create change? Well, I would say anything worth doing is somewhere between, I would call it 3 to 5 years. Yeah. You design it, you implement it, and then it comes to pass. But yet, whether it's in Canadian or US politics, we change out the leader of the country every 4 years.
Yeah.
So how much can they really get done, right? So the first year is figuring out what's going on. 2, I get a game plan. 3, I do something. 4, I got to go back to the public to get reelected.
Yeah.
So, people say, well, I say, and here's something I've learned at being an executive leadership coach with CEOs all over the world. It's just one of my isms of Eric that my clients call me, is those who can see the furthest always win.
Yeah.
Walt Disney. Hey, can you guys see a potential amusement park here in the mangrove swamps of Florida? Huh? No. Howard Schultz. Hey, I think we can get people to pay $5 for a coffee. When at the time it was Maxwell House and Nescafe, instant coffee you get in the office. It's like,
yeah,
right? I mean, Henry Ford. I think we can get people to buy this car.
Mm-hmm.
There was no roads, there's no repair shops, and there was no gas station.
Yeah.
And I'm going to spend $3,000 to buy this thing. I think I'm going to work on my horse.
Yeah.
So, and you look at what Malala has done. This young woman in Pakistan got shot in the head. And today she's got a large foundation supporting women and leaders all over the world. I mean, those who see the furthest always win.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's, go back to government. Having a government in for 10 years is what we need to do. People say, oh, I don't want that person in there for 10 years. But if we had a system of accountability that held them accountable, now we can get something done. Because in business, anything worth doing, generally for a client, I say, that's a 3 to 5 year plan to get that. And most of my clients really start to realize it's 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? We've been working on expanding in Toronto for the last 4 years. Now we're at the next piece. And it's going to probably take another 5 years to where we can see it really be the revenue stream that we're going to be able to create. But it's long-term thinking.
Yeah.
But our society lives in event to event to event,
For sure.
which is month to week. And so that's the other thing I see is this ability to be able to be in these, what I call new conversations of leadership, so that we can start to transform and upgrade these systems that no longer work for us.
Yeah.
Climate change, it's real. Look at California, right? So we need to be able to support these new conversations, to upgrade these systems, health systems, education systems, economic systems, political systems, environmental systems. So the next 100 to 1,000 years,
Agreed.
we can be in a sustainable planet.
Agreed. You've probably heard there's Japanese companies that will have a 150-year business plan.
I know, they get it. You know, Jeff Bezos got a long-term plan. Barack Obama has a 100-year plan. Yeah, you see it all the time, but our society is so driven for tomorrow, and it's killing us. It's killing us.
I agree. I love your vision always. Eric, thank you so much for sharing that wisdom.
My
What
pleasure.
is the final story that you'd like to share? A good news story, legacy story, or anything that you'd like to close with?
I would say, tied back to this new conversation on leadership, and I want to tell a story because she was an extraordinary woman. You knew her, I knew her, Suzanne West. And, you know, before she died, I'll get around this. Before she died, you know, she had the opportunity to do a lot of amazing things. But one of the things she did is she won Entrepreneur of the Year or Woman of the Year through Women of Influence. I think it was through Deloitte or
RBC.
RBC. And so when she got interviewed, the final interview, she got interviewed by 4 people out of Toronto, and they interviewed her and they said, "Have you ever been bullied in the boardroom in Calgary?" She's like, "No." And they're like, "Wow." She says, "I have a secret weapon." And it was like, everybody's like, "What's your secret weapon?" And she said, "Let me tell you what my secret weapon is." And see, this secret weapon, as I tell it, this is a major piece to the new conversation of leadership. She said, we had a fatality in the company that I sat on the board. She said it was devastating, but we had to do our own investigation. And so we did our own investigation. There was 5 men on the board with her, 1 woman, 5 men. And the vice president of operation came in. And so he gave a presentation, and within 5 minutes, he's crying. And 2 of the men in the room said, "I guess this meeting's over." She didn't wail on anybody. She just stood up and said, "Hey guys, why don't you guys take a break? I'll handle it." She went up to him. She put his head in her neck right here and just said, "I apologize for that outburst of disrespect." He said, this is the hardest thing I've ever done." She said, "Would you please finish the presentation?" He said, "If you stay, I will stay." She said, "This is for you and your family, the deceased family, and for the board and the employees." He said, "I need your support." She said, "You have it." She turned to the board and she said, "My secret weapon is 6 C's. Courage. We need to stand up and speak when it's time to speak." That's what's starting to show up in this world. It's people who have the courage to stand up and say, this needs to change, and here's how I can support and help. 2, compassion. We need to get more compassion in the world. We need less, I'm right, you're wrong, you get it, I don't get it. We need more compassion for everybody and the challenges each of us are going through. 3rd C is we need to communicate. We need to communicate in generative language that can generate action even when it's hard. 4 is we need to be collaborative. 5, we need to be creative. We got to find ways to be able to think out of the box, to pivot your company, to pivot your organization, to pivot your government, to pivot your school in these challenging times. And 6, you got to be part of a community, because in this world of change and the speed of change today, the first thing I know that comes at people today with change is negative emotions. Yeah. And if you're not in a community, you will just destroy yourself, because the self-doubt and the negative emotions of, I don't know what I'm doing, I should know better, I'm stupid, overwhelm, anxiety just shuts people down. I did a strategic planning session the other day with 8 CEOs. And I start the session, I just say, I just like to go around the room, and does anybody have anything they want to say? And one CEO says, "Yeah, no, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed out, and I'm just frustrated with everything, but I'm committed to being here." I said, "Thank you for being honest, and thank you for being open." Within an hour of being in this community that he was in, he just said, "Hey, I just want to pause. Thank you for your support, allowing me to feel safe, allowing me to be honest about how I felt. And now I am feeling engaged by this conversation, and I'm back." See, when we leverage those 6 C's, courage, compassion, communication, collaboration, creativity, and community, we can tackle any challenge in the world today because people are coming together. That is, to me, a foundation of the new conversation of leadership. It's not about win-lose, it's about win-win. And win-win with those 6 C's. My sister-in-law, she was extraordinary. I just wanted to honor her at the end because I wouldn't be here where I am today in the work that I've done without her. You met her, you knew her. She was a game-changing leader.
Yeah, she was.
So thank you for that. And thank you for the opportunity to speak. An honor.
Thank you, Eric. I feel the exact same way. An absolute honor. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you for mentioning Suzanne and her amazing life and how she impacted us all. You're an amazing person, my dear friend. I wish you all the greatest successes in Toronto and every other place that you impact. You touch us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Everyone, Eric Crowell with The Awesome Journey. Check out the great work that he does and they do as a team. They're making an impact everywhere. Very grateful that he could join, and thank you so much for joining us today. Please like, share, and subscribe, and share it with your friends. Enjoy the day and be blessed. Thank you.